another edition of what we're calling Grad School here at K-StateOnline. Today we have Martavious Irving with us, of course, Coach Chris Lowery. Martavious, man, I appreciate you joining us today.
Thank you for having me.
So the first thing I got to talk to you about, I was talking to Coach Lowery before, and there's really two topics that I have to start with one of the two, but you are still a member of the most winningest senior class in K-State history. 101 wins. We did some math before you got here. The class this year would have to basically go undefeated, win the national championship to catch you, so you're pretty safe. I just wonder how big of an honor is it to know that you're part of the winningest class in K-State history?
It's a big honor. I think it's just shows you that we were consistent throughout the years as far as winning. We made four NCAA tournaments. We made 2 Big 12 championship tournament runs, and I just played with a group of guys each year that was just really good, talented individually, but we was really talented as a team also.
With Martavious coaching that class, you came in for their last year, and I think some people can expect it to be tough. The coach before them, and they were successful and had a good run, and then you guys come in and win a Big 12 title and have as much success as they ever had there before. How quick was a guy like Martavious to really buy into what you were trying to do?
Martavious brings up stuff like that I don't remember, but we didn't try to totally eliminate what they had known. We just tried to change it.
Right.
And one of the things we did, we called jamming the ball, and that means picking up. The guards had to pick up full court. And Martavious one time didn't do it, and I blew the whistle. No, Martavious, go up there. He went up a little bit forward, a little bit further. I was like, no, Martavious, go up there. So, just that side of it, just implementing some of what we did. But they were already winners. That was instilled. Toughness was instilled already in them. We just do things differently. And we didn't come in to be, treat them like Frank or coach them like Frank.
Right.
We had to coach like us and be us. And that's important when you take over another program. Now, there's things that you got to leave alone, and we had to leave alone offensive rebounding, toughness, the willing to fight people, and make it tough every possession. They already had that in them.
Right.
We just needed to tweak some things we do offensively and then just let them play.
Martavious, I was reading before you got here kind of about some of your history overseas and the process that was. And you referenced in the story I read about Coach Weber and Coach Lowery, how they cared about you and helped you get that career going. Did you feel that you were more than just a player to them, right away as soon as they met you?
I did, simply because I had, different situations with them that showed me that they cared. I think the first one was our trip to Brazil. Was really big for us as far as getting to know each other outside of basketball. And then also on the court, with the situation that happened with Coach Weber there, it was hilarious to think about. But it showed that, he really cared about his players. And then with Coach Lowery, it was more like initially in practice, he'll just stay on you all the time. And we had that with the previous coaching staff. But, once practice is over, Coach Lowery's like, my wife is cooking if you guys want to come eat, type thing. And it's been like that now for 6 years, and nothing has changed. And, now that we're older, you really appreciate it more. And when you're a kid, you're just thinking, oh, I get a free meal tonight, you know what I mean? But, it's different now because it's from a standpoint of like a father-son type, and he take us all in and, he give us advice on anything we need. And, we talk about all types of things, and it just makes us feel comfortable.
And then that's something that I imagine has lived on, from the end of your college career probably to today, I would assume, right?
Yeah. A lot of times, when I'm talking to the younger guys here or if I'm talking to younger guys back home, I always reference my coaches at K-State would say blah, blah, blah. I'm always giving them, some type of advice from things that I've learned from people that's older than me.
I was going to ask him, Coach, but I'm going to ask you, I think, about the tunnel dance and that kind of stuff. Did he explain the process of what that was to you, or how did that come to be?
Well, we had absolutely no idea of it until, preseason. And, Coach Weber is a regimented guy about how he wants to do, how he wants to come out of the tunnel, what time, and, wants the manager to tell him how much time's left on the clock. Well, that first, we come out, and you got J.O. on the beatbox beating on the wall, and he's like, what is going on? And he's like, we need to go out there. And they're just like, and then, I think it was Brandon Yoder, who was a trainer. And he goes, Coach, this is what they do. It's the tunnel dance. And so we just start dying laughing. Coach didn't like it at first.
Right.
Just because that's how they got ready. And, he can tell you the story about how it all started.
Yeah.
But, for us, it was different from, Coach Weber needed something light. He was so regimented and hard and so caught up in we're getting ready to play that he didn't like it at first. But then as it progressed and he saw what it was about, he loved it.
Right. Martavious, I think there's a perception amongst a guy like me and a lot of the fans that really kind of either did start with you or you were the guy they think of when they think of the tunnel dance. Mm-hmm. How did that start and what was behind that?
It did start with me. I will take full credit for that. But I want to say it was like December 15th, 2009. We played Xavier here.
It was the exact date.
I want to say it.
I have good memory. Yeah. But I think it was December 15th. We played Xavier here. That Xavier team that had Jordan Crawford, Holloway, very talented team that we ended up seeing that same year in the tournament.
Right.
We was playing them here, and we came off of like a really, really tough practice the day before. And we was in the tunnel, and usually what we would do is we'll pray before a game, and we'll just run out. At the time, Victor Ojale lead us in prayer, and we'll just run out. But for some reason, the lady that usually signals us to come out through the tunnel, she told us to hold up, and we was just standing around because we had already said our prayer. And I personally didn't like the way we looked going into this game because at the time they were ranked 15th. It was a big opportunity for us. So I originally just started jumping around and pushing people. And I'm a freshman. I'm fresh out of high school. I didn't have no care in the world. I just wanted to win a game. So as I'm jumping around and I'm pushing people, I start to dance a little bit. And while I'm dancing just a little bit, J.O. just walks over to the door that's on the side, and he just starts beating on it. And I'm dancing to it, not realizing that at the end of the tunnel there's a camera, and the little red light just turned on, so they're recording. So as I'm dancing, I hear the crowd just start going crazy, and I'm like, in my head, I'm like, what did I just start just now? So basically that's just how it started. And after that, we went out and we beat Xavier. But that night on Twitter, that's all I heard about. It wasn't nothing about the game. It was just, we loved your dancing. Can you do it next game? So it was just like, I have to do it every time now type thing.
Coach always talks about the importance of the crowd here in Manhattan, how to help those guys out and how much he appreciates their support. What was it like for you as a player? Is that stuff as important as we make it out to be, home court advantage in the crowd?
It is because, it's a different type of energy when you have, the fans either with you or against you, honestly, versus if you're in a big arena and there's no one there.
Yeah.
I just think I've been in those situations, when I'm younger, you playing AAU games, you got the 9 a.m. game, and it's completely empty. It's hard to get yourself going, but, you walk into Bramlage, it's 13,000, and they're all cheering for you. Your adrenaline gets going, you're jumping higher in warm-ups, you're making shots from everywhere, it just gets you, more ready to play.
To change gears a little bit, you're another guy that we've had on the show with Chris here who's made a living playing basketball at different places. Can you just walk fans through kind of where you've been since you left Manhattan and kind of what your career's taken you to this moment?
So initially my first year, once I graduated, Coach Lowery and Coach Weber asked me to come back here as a third grad assistant.
Right.
And I came back in the second semester and got a look from there in on, coaching and all of that, mainly because I just had surgery the year before, once the season ended after the tournament, on both of my knees. And then after that season was over, Coach Weber asked me, do you want to go back and play? And I told him yes. So he helped me. He knew someone, and I ended up playing in Slovakia my first year. And it was totally different from anything I ever been in.
Yeah.
It was really slow. It was cold. I was alone, but I was playing in Europe. And then after that, I've had a bumpy career, I would say. The next couple years, I played in China on Chinese tours that they do, and it's not like a league. You just go around playing people. And you might be there I was there for 2.5 months sometimes. One time I was there for a month. easy way to make some money, but also a way to be seen. It's just difficult to get out of that situation. But my second stint going to China, I got a call from an Indonesian team to ask for a point guard. So I went straight from China to Indonesia last year in February. So that was basically my journey. I ended up winning the championship last year. And then this year I didn't play simply because that's just how it goes sometimes. You may not sign somewhere, it's just up in the air, and that's the difficult part of it, difficult side of it as a career. But, that's basically where I've been.
Coach, I'm curious for you, what was it about Martavious that made you interested in bringing him back and having you guys help on the staff after he finished up playing here?
I think the biggest thing is Bruce Weber knew that Tay was down in the dumps. He had knee surgery. His guys are all playing. And Coach is an extremely caring person. He was like, if you're not playing, come earn another degree.
Right.
And we'll take care of it. And that's what people don't know. That's how Coach is. It had absolutely nothing to do with Tay playing. He cared about Tay.
Yeah.
And he was like, okay, I'm going to call. What do you guys think? He asked us. And he's like, I'm going to call Tay and tell him to come back and be a GA. And I said, that's great. Like, you should. Like, especially because, number one, you don't ever want your guys to feel like, when I'm done playing, you're done with me.
Right.
And that's a bad feeling. And a lot of athletes have that feeling that when the lights go out, for me, my coaches don't care, they're on to the next. And Bruce is clearly not that way, considering if you come to our gym and you see all those guys, back. And Tay was right what he said earlier. Last night at our house, we had Martavious Irving, Justin Edwards, Corby Irvin, Jordan Enriquez, Shane Southwell, DJ Johnson, Justin Edwards, and that's what it's about. It's about family, it's about laughing at old stuff, and those guys were different times in K-State basketball, but they're all brothers. So that's the beauty of what we have, what Bruce has built here. Mm-hmm. The brotherhood is strong. He really does a good job of reaching out to guys that played for him and guys that didn't even play for him too. So, that's the good thing about it.
Martavious, Coach Lowery just rattled off all these names that are back helping over the summer. Mm-hmm. I've been kind of fascinated to ask somebody on camera, can you explain what one of these days is like playing against the players? How do you guys pick rosters? Do you play 5-5 up and down? What is a day like? I'm just curious how you guys do this.
So initially when we first came back a couple weeks ago, we mixed the teams. So I was on a team with Barry and, whoever else or whatever. It'll be a team where it's like Jordan and someone else. But recently, for competitive reasons and for our own TBT thing, we've done the old guys versus the young guys. And that's what we did last summer also. Because, all those guys are really good and it's going to help us. But we want to also help them in the process as far as, this upcoming season, because we did it last year and then they, had a great season this year, ended up going on a run. So we just want them to build off that and actually go further.
Right.
So we're doing the older guys versus young guys, try to beat up on them. They try to beat up on us. It's going to get competitive as the summer continues to go on. Everyone is, in better shape and that types of thing. So that's how we're doing it.
You mentioned the TBT thing, and when I was reading about you before you got here, I think your last season overseas, it said you averaged a little over 16 a game, and I think K-State fans remember you as a defensive guy and then a facilitator on offense. But have you changed as a player, whether it's in the TBT or overseas, to where you're more of a scorer?
I think while I was here, I was more team-oriented.
Right.
So if Coach said, I need you to go out and guard the best player and don't do nothing else, I was fine with that because I enjoy winning more than anything. If there was times, especially in my senior year, where I was scoring more and more comfortable just because, it was needed. Because if you look back there, Will was hurt and that type of situation, so it was needed. Whereas overseas, as an import, they're looking for you to score the basketball. They're looking for you to do everything. So, Indonesia, where I averaged 17, I also had 7 rebounds. To add to that, I had to guard the best player on the floor, and I basically had to do everything, or you'll get sent home. That's just the honest truth. So, it's all I've always had it, but it's just like here, I'm playing with more talented people. I'm okay with being in a role where it's like do whatever you need to help the team win, because that's just how I've always been.
Coach, like we talked about, we've had a lot of big guys so far. Martavious is the first guard. What is he? I guess what's the best trait that he has for these young guys to work against in the offseason, and what can they take from him?
Well, one of my favorite Martavious moments as a player is at TCU. He got a 10-second count by himself. You know, that somebody, like, you know how hard it is to keep somebody from going from the back court to the front court by yourself without another person trapping them?
Right.
And, you know, and we watched film, and Martavious was like, Coach Lowery, you're going crazy over, you know, and the biggest thing was like, I'd never seen that done. One person got a 10-second call on somebody. So that side of, you know, what he brings, he can lock people up. And what he teaches our young guys is every time they cross over in front of him, he takes it. So he tells them, and everybody will yell out from the side, and don't cross over in front of Tay, like, you know, because he's taking it from the best in our league. And those things are invaluable when you have older guys coming. And we've said this since we have J.O., we've had Gip and DJ. Those guys being back last year were the reason why we won this year.
Right.
Because not only did they kick our butts, but they also taught us at the same time. And you could see, and you think about this, Dean was guarding, obviously, Curtis Kelly and Dean's evolution. And Barry had to deal with Jacob. And you see Barry's evolution. That's those guys went to the Elite Eight. And now, you know, we're coming back with the same team. And I think that was the biggest difference from them. Some of the pieces from that team left after their Elite Eight. Right. So now we have a chance to see what can happen next with all of our guys back. And that's the piece where we can't get complacent. That's the piece where these older guys can hit home with those guys.
People have really liked hearing kind of the players' perceptions on some of the younger guys in the program, and people kind of know all about Barry and all about Cam. I'd be curious your thoughts on going against, you know, Mike McGurl and Cartier Jada. Starting with Mike, what's he like as a player in your opinion?
Mike is surprisingly very, very athletic. He may be, you could correct me if I'm wrong, the strongest guard on their team also. Because, you know, every morning I go in and I lift with them. And I see him lifting at a young age, and I'm like, that reminds me of myself.
Right.
And when he's lifting with older guys, that was me lifting with Chris Merriweather, lifting with Jake, lifting with Victor Ojale, but he's just, like, extremely strong. But, you know, especially, like, yesterday, he showed how competitive he was. All he just really ever needed was an opportunity. He showed once he got an opportunity last season, he took advantage of it. Whereas it's now, like, I'm pretty sure he's in the rotation, in the coaches, like, they got to play him type thing because, you know, he's a really good player. On both sides of the ball, he needs a person to, like, push him all the time.
And then the same question on Cardi, a guy who was kind of forced into a role when Cam got hurt last year, then played really well for this team.
Cardi extremely talented. You know, watching him play sometimes, you marvel at some of the things he do. Athletically, he's like a freak of nature in my opinion. He jumps so high. So, you know, he can burst the speed every now and then. He gets into the lane. With him being left-handed, he's extremely hard to guard. And I think Cardi can be an all-league type guard. But that's really dependent on him. And I know him and Mike, they're going to build off of last year because, you know, since I've been here every night, I'll go and shoot. And maybe 12:30, them guys they're in there working.
Yeah.
And it makes me feel really well that they're doing that because they really care about this program. They don't want to just be known as, oh, we went to the Elite Eight also, just like the 09-10 team.
Right.
Like, they want to build off. They've said it. Like, I want to get to a Final Four. I want to, you know, win a national championship. And they're putting in the work to do that.
Last thing I have, then I'll see if Coach wants to share anything about you before we kind of wrap this up. But what's it like for you to watch now Coach work with Shane Southwell, not as a player, but as a coach, and what that whole process is like?
It changes from coach-player to, like, coach-colleague.
Yeah.
And everything that, you know, Coach Lowery has known about this business since he's been in it, you know, I can see him passing it down to Shane just from, you know, outside of the gym. We may go back to Shane's and we might watch some basketball. And, you know, all of us are smart players, but we're not smarter than the best coach.
Sure.
You know, so Shane may look at the game and he may say, well, they did this, this, and this. And I'm like, he sounds just like Coach Lowery right now, like, because he's looking at the game from a different aspect, and it's making us even more like interested. Because I've always been a guy that liked to watch film on, you know, players I may have to guard and stuff like that.
Right.
And Shane may look at it a different type of way now, and I'm just like, Coach Lowery's really rubbing off on him a lot, and I think it's just preparing him to be a really good coach in the future.
Right. And then, Coach, like, to say anything else on Martavious, I mean, I think it's fascinating to see how his game has changed, but just how proud you are of him since he was with you guys as a GA, then moved on to what he's done now.
Well, I'll talk about how proud I am later, but we got to go back to the story in Brazil. What he's talking about, the reason why, you know, they didn't really know Coach Weber. They didn't know. They knew he was different from Frank, you know, and that was fine. But you know, we were playing a game, and it was one of the worst, maybe the worst officiated game I've ever been associated with.
Absolutely.
And you know, we're playing and we're getting really bad calls. Yeah. They tackled Will on one of them, and Coach kind of got mad and grabbed the ball and tried to roll it at the official the first time, and Brad Korn, I think, kicked it so it wouldn't hit the ref. You know, we're over there. The next time something happened, and Coach Weber took the ball and threw it and hit the ref in the back hard.
On purpose.
On purpose.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
And I'm thinking, okay, we're in Brazil. We're in Sao Paulo. This is their club team. This is their fans. They could easily lock the door and beat the crap out of all of us.
Absolutely.
Right.
And then he went up. They kicked him out.
Of course.
You know, not very people know this story. They kicked him out. He went up to the gallery, and he's worse acting up there than he was on the bench. And
so he didn't leave the arena. He went and sat in as a fan and watched it.
Basically.
Yeah, he went and sat as a fan. Was just the worst heckler you've ever seen.
Yeah.
But after that point, he kind of earned their respect.
Absolutely.
And they said he has the crazy gene, too.
Absolutely.
It's like all coaches.
Yeah. And that's funny because I think people perceive him as being so calm and so calculated and all the time. And it is interesting to know that he has that in him.
Yeah.
Right. But as far as being proud of, you know, obviously you want these guys when they go out, you want them to have success. You don't want them to fail when they leave. And you want them to play till the wheels fall off. And that's what we always tell them. Play as long as you can. Do this as long as you can. And then when it's time to settle down and start a family, you know, do that. But, you know, a lot of people don't get to keep playing after college. A lot of people don't get to play after high school.
Right.
So to keep playing after college is an honor, even if it's in a different country. And I'm proud that he's not afraid to go anywhere and play, because that stops a lot of guys from playing. They don't want to leave their city, their state, their school. They want to leave out from under the umbrella, and Martavious never been afraid to do that.
Well, thank you, Coach. Martavious, man, I appreciate the time. Thank you very much.
Appreciate it.